Medieval Eurasia was dominated by wealthy, heavily fortified civilizations in China and Persia. Far to the north lay the Mongolian steppe, a massive expanse of merciless, freezing grasslands where survival was a constant physical struggle. The people who lived here were fractured. Nomadic clans were locked in cycles of horse thievery and tribal raiding, fighting over the limited resources available in an unforgiving landscape. These scattered families living in high tents faced a wall of stone. Heavily armored armies and massive stone fortifications protected the vast wealth of their southern neighbors. Breaching these defenses required a total reorganization of nomadic life, turning the disparate tribes into a singular, synchronized military body. Before he was Genghis Khan, he was Temujin. When he was a child, his father was poisoned, and his own clan abandoned his family to starve in the snow. Surviving that extreme poverty and betrayal taught Temujin the harshest lesson of the steppe. Strength was the only guarantee of survival. He scaled that logic to unify the tribes. By 1206, he had eliminated his rivals and consolidated the nomadic families into a 1 million-strong machine under the title Genghis Khan. His first major change was the removal of the old hierarchy. He promoted commanders based on their tactical skill and personal loyalty, entirely ignoring their noble birth or tribal bloodlines. He then maximized the speed of his troops. By rotating through multiple mounts on a single march, Mongol cavalry covered distances stationary armies found impossible. This diagram shows how they manipulated the rigid formations of traditional medieval armies. The Mongol line deliberately breaks and flees, drawing the enemy forward into an exhausting pursuit. Once the enemy is scattered across open ground, the trap springs shut. The fleeing Mongols turn back, while hidden flankers encircle the exhausted survivors on all sides. Strict coordination and psychological manipulation allowed them to dismantle larger forces without relying on raw numbers or head-on collisions. Genghis Khan weaponized psychological terror, treating mass destruction as a calculated tool for efficient conquest. When a governor of the wealthy Khwarezmian Empire executed Mongol merchants, Genghis launched a campaign of total retaliation that leveled the region. Cities that chose to resist, like Bukhara and Samarkand, were annihilated completely. Survivors described rivers running red as entire populations were wiped out. This reputation created a strategic shortcut. By erasing resistant populations, the Mongols forced subsequent towns to surrender immediately, preserving Mongol military resources for the next campaign. The empire's growth relied on rapid, pragmatic adaptation to the cultures it encountered. Because horsemen couldn't break stone walls with arrows, the Mongols integrated captured Chinese engineers to build complex catapults and siege weapons in the field. They simultaneously brought in Persian scholars and bureaucrats to manage the immense administration required to govern a continental territory. This cross-pollination wove foreign technologies and art directly into the Mongol military identity. Genghis Khan built an open-source war machine. It expanded by identifying and absorbing the best innovations of the very civilizations it defeated. In 1227, Genghis Khan died under mysterious circumstances during a campaign. To keep his burial site a secret, his soldiers killed anyone who witnessed the funeral procession. His heirs inherited a functional engine. His grandson, Kublai Khan, pushed the borders even further, eventually swallowing all of China and establishing the Yuan dynasty. The genius of this military architecture was its capacity to outlive its architect. Long after his death, his system continued expanding until it covered nearly the entire Eurasian landmass. This map visualizes the Pax Mongolica, a strictly enforced legal system that protected trade routes and mandated religious tolerance across the empire. For the first time, goods, engineering techniques, and philosophical ideas could travel back and forth between the Pacific Ocean and the edges of Europe. This massive network of connectivity was forged through absolute terror. Genghis Khan was a destroyer, but by removing the barriers of the medieval world, his system laid the structural foundations for a connected global one.